What's going on, you guys? My name is Julian. I am a first-year medical student here at St. George's University, and today I have a very special guest. Her name is Kyla. She is from Oklahoma City, and today we're going to be talking about the MSAP program.
It's MSAP, not MSAP?
The MSAP program. Cut! What's going on, you guys? My name is Julian. I am a first-year medical student here at St. George's University, and today we're going to be talking about the MSAP program.
My name is Kyla, and I am from Oklahoma, and I am also a Term 2 medical student.
Yes. So we are really excited to share with you what exactly is the MSAP program, a little bit about why SGU offers the MSAP program specifically, and hopefully this can guide your decision on whether or not if you want to come to St. George's University to study medicine. All right, so let's get right into it. First, Kyla, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, why you chose to be a physician or want to be a physician, and what guided your decision to come to St. George's University?
Yeah, so I am from Oklahoma, and I graduated from Oklahoma State University. Go Pokes!
Go Pokes!
Yep. I actually have a degree in zoology, so I originally planned to go pre-vet to vet school and then changed halfway through sophomore year to pre-med just after some shadowing and talking to vets as well as physicians. I just felt led more to medicine and ended up here because I couldn't pass the MCAT. So
that's
here I am.
A lot of ours stories, especially with that good old-fashioned MCAT. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and just get right into it. What exactly does the MSAP program even stand for?
So MSAP stands for Medical School Assessment Program, and SGU designed it to basically give students an opportunity to see what it's like to go through first term as an MD student.
Okay.
So it's supposed to be a predictor of term one, of your performance in term one.
Okay, gotcha. And I noticed that not all students who get accepted into St. George's University all have to go through the MSAP program, right? So what is some criteria of, first of all, not having to go through the MSAP program versus having to go through the MSAP program? What do they look at, or what do you think they look at?
So I know for me, it was because I didn't score high enough on my MCAT.
Okay.
So I know that if you go on SGU's website and when you apply, they tell you they don't have a minimum for the MCAT. Well, you apply and come to find out that's not actually true.
Got it.
Which is why I was placed in MSAP. I got a letter of acceptance that was determinant of my MCAT score because I didn't score a 495.
Gotcha.
So there's that unspoken minimum, supposedly.
And this is during the year of COVID, right? This is when,
Yes.
the MCAT was only 6 hours long or something like that, and
Yeah,
a lot of schools didn't even require an MCAT, right?
Yes, yeah. So, but at the time that I applied to SGU, they were still requiring it. So that was before they took away that MCAT requirement.
Got it. How much does it cost?
Totally free.
Totally free, so
Totally
you don't have
free,
to pay
resources and
anything.
everything.
Okay, gotcha.
Just
And
to
is
cost
it
your time.
right? Is it how do I word this? Is it led by professors in real time, or do you have to attend lectures virtually, or what does that look like?
So no, you actually have no access to professors at all. So the only people that you have access to are facilitators, which are current MD students that have gone through the MSAP program.
Got it.
As well as the MSAP director. So all of the lectures are pre-recorded, so they aren't live lectures.
So it's at your own pace, at your own time. About how many hours a week do you expect, or did you have to personally go through in order to be successful for the MSAP program?
So it's on your own time to an extent. There is a quiz at the end of every week.
Okay.
And it's going to be over that week's material until the last final exam, which is cumulative of everything.
Okay. So on that topic, how many exams? Is it based out of attendance, or is it all just based on quizzes and exams?
Your grades are all quizzes and exams, and the final exam.
Gotcha. And about how many quizzes, how many exams?
So I believe there were 3 quizzes and 1 final because it's 5 weeks.
Got it. So 3
grade.
quizzes, 1 final, and it's about 5 weeks long. Is that correct?
So I believe we had 4 quizzes each week, and then the last week you had the final exam.
Gotcha. So at the end of every week, you were given material throughout the week, and at the end of the week, you were quizzed on the material, and then at the very end of the program, you had about the final exam, right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. And I did a little bit of research online. It says your final grade's about 30% quizzes and about 50% for the final exam. Was that pretty stressful for you, having to know that, in order to get into medical school, you have to, pass this MSAT program and get a certain percentage on the entire, which we'll get into it later, but how did that affect your ability to perform well during the MSAT program?
So I actually have kind of a unique experience because I had spent the whole year prior in it's called a graduate certificate program through one of our state schools.
Okay.
It was basically the same concept. So it was to be able to kind of know what a first year med term feels like, or a whole year. And then to kind of predict how well you would do in a first year MD, or it was a DO program.
Got it.
So it was, the material in MSAP wasn't stuff that was totally new.
Okay.
So I guess I kind of had that like leg up because
Gotcha.
There was stuff that was new, but overall it was stuff that I had heard before.
Got it.
But being only 5 weeks and having a quiz each week, there was a lot more material in one time.
Okay. So you had basically a background in a basic science program, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And this really helped guide you through the MSAT? Because I know from personal experience, I never went through the MSAT, but I know a few students who did, and it was tough. A couple of them didn't pass. So can you explain to the audience exactly how difficult it was for you personally to do well, and what is the exact percentage that was required in order for you to move on into a term 1 medical student?
So the passing percentage is a 75%.
75, okay.
Yes. Personally, I did work. I had a part-time job during MSAP. I worked in retail, so we weren't overly busy. On my free time, I was able to study. I had pretty cool bosses.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say that that's how it is for everyone, because if once you're put into MSAP, you start getting phone calls from students who are currently on the island or in the MD program. They kind of tell you hey, this is just, they give you an opportunity to talk to them about what it was like and about the island and what it's like to be at SGU.
Okay.
So there were a few students I had talked to, and I got mixed answers. So one said he worked a full-time job the whole time. Yeah. It was easy, and then another girl said absolutely not.
Dang.
So of course it's, it's subjective.
Gotcha.
For, if you're not used to having dense material on a regular basis, working is probably not ideal, and you're going to spend more time on it.
Gotcha. So it's all depends on the person, right? It all depends on what their study habits are, how quickly they pick up on new material, etc. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes, yeah. Okay. So if you're going in fresh, no science background, or very little,
might be a little bit tougher unless you're a genius, right?
Exactly.
Great. So I think we answered a couple questions regarding how difficult the MSAT program is, what exactly you need in order to matriculate into a term 1 medical student as far as the percentage. Can you talk a little bit about what happens if you fail the MSAT?
So if you fail the MSAP, you don't have the opportunity to retake it. However, they will place you into what's called the Charter Foundation program.
Okay.
And I want to say that is also that's a term long, so it's the roughly 5 months. And I know you can do that on the island. I'm not sure if they offer it online. They probably did for COVID. I'm not sure if that'll stay that way. So it's essentially the MSAP stretched out over a semester.
Gotcha.
So you do go into more information and more detail.
Right. I
didn't have to take it, so I can't really compare what it feels like to be in the Charter Foundation program.
Okay.
But based off what I've heard from other people, it sounds like the workload is roughly the same, and the hours put in is roughly the same.
Got it. So basically, if you don't get a 75%, you don't have to forcefully go into the Charter Foundation program, but you do if you want to matriculate as a Term 1 medical student, right?
Yes, yeah.
Gotcha.
So either way, so if you are put into MSAP, you have to pass MSAP to get into the MD program. If you don't pass MSAP, you have to pass the Charter Foundation program to get into the MD program. What
do you feel about the program as far as its readiness? Like, how ready did it make you for Term 1? And you could be brutally honest with me. I know some students most likely did well because of the MSAP, other students not so much.
So like I said, I had kind of a unique experience having gone through that program I went through before. So I can't say 100% that the MSAP prepared me 100%.
Right.
However, I will say a lot of the lecture slides that we are given in MSAP are the same slides that we had in Term 1
Okay,
of the
gotcha.
MD program.
So maybe some things are a little bit easier, maybe some things are a little bit more difficult, but I feel like it really depends at the end of the day how well, or I guess the individual student, right?
Yes.
How they're able to pick up on information, how they're able to, be able to get all this information and apply it to exams. Because when you get into medical school is all about exams for the first 2 years anyways. But we'll get into that a little bit later. How did you study and how did you prepare for the MSAP in order to be successful?
So I used what's called the curve of forgetting.
Okay.
And basically it lays out on a kind of a broad calendar of roughly how the percentage of material that you're going to remember over a certain amount of time, based off of when you review it again. Yeah. It's kind of hard to explain since I don't have it here to show you. But if you Google it, you can find it. Right. So I used that, and it actually helped a lot. Great. Basing my studying off of that. Whiteboarding, I love whiteboarding. YouTube is a great resource. Absolutely. And then I rewatched the lectures because, like I said, they're all recorded. Yep. So I rewatched the ones that I felt like I needed to. And then the facilitators are great. So every week you're going to have scheduled, like in the MD program, we call them OPLGs, which are open peer learning groups. Okay. So it's essentially the same thing for MSAP, but they're scheduled based on the subject. So I think ours were Friday and Saturday. So there would be a scheduled peer learning group for anatomy and physiology, and then one for biochem at another time. Awesome. During the MSAP. Highly recommend going, yeah. Okay. 100% awesome. Go to those. And you'll know who's leading them ahead of time, so you kind of get a feel the first week or two about, like, okay, I learned better from this facilitator than this one, or I like their teaching style better. So you kind of, like, figure that out. And then the board review series books. 100% board review series. Okay. Which is just like a set of questions or it has videos. Practice questions, yeah. So they're books that are made for their prep material for your step 1 and step 2 exams. Great. So you kind of have to nitpick the questions a little bit because there are questions in there covering things that we didn't cover in MSAP, but the questions that do are extremely helpful, and I found that they were very similar to what was asked on the quizzes and the tests. Yeah. And you can find free versions of those books. Online. But let's talk about the facilitators. So you mentioned that the facilitators are what you have access to during the MSAT program. What are some requirements to become a facilitator, and did you find them helpful? So I had great facilitators. I can't say that it's going to be that way for every MSAT. Okay. The ones that I had were fantastic, and some of them still hold OPLGs now for our term, and I try to go to their sessions. Okay, what are they though? Are they? They're current MD students, so they're students that had gone through the MSAT program and are now in the MD program. Okay. I know a couple that I had during MSAP were term 5, so they, were off the island and no longer doing the PLGs.
Yeah.
But they are people who have gone through the MSAP and actually know what it feels like and what to expect. And,
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. One last question. Does the MSAP program go on your transcript, and does it affect your GPA?
It does not. So you will not get a transcript or a certificate or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
No credit. You can't use it to try to get into another medical school. It's just, it's a type of program that SGU specifically offers to different students for different reasons. And if you pass it, great, term 1. If you don't, then you have the second option for the Charter Foundation program. And if you guys want to find out more about what exactly is the Charter Foundation program, please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear you guys' opinion. Thanks again so much, Kyla. Thanks so much for coming out. I'm really thankful for this opportunity to interview you. And yeah, best of luck on your endeavors. So,
Thank you.
all right, guys, much love. See you guys next time.